All right. We are live back for another episode of Polar Bears in Flip-Flops with Angelo Villagomez and myself, Andrew Lewin. Angelo, how you doing, man?
Hey, good afternoon. How is the weather up in Canada today? Is it as cold as it is down here?
It's cold. It's actually not bad. We are at -5 centigrade. So that is, or -7, sorry,
Centigrade. Yeah, that's
centigrade. Yeah. So that's probably around like 15, maybe? No, maybe more than that.
okay.
20?
I
20 some odd.
I don't
So that's
really
not
ever
bad.
pay attention to the temperature, but I'm wearing my big jacket, and it was cold. And it's supposed to get colder. We're supposed to get snow over the weekend, and that's
Yes,
like
yes.
the topic of the day as you go around the city and you see people and you say, "Hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Can you believe this weather we're having?" It's like the thing of the day. And I was like, what are you going to do if it snows? Do you think we'll have Monday off? And these are the silly little things that we've been
That's
asking ourselves and our colleagues.
we're more of like it's do you think it's going to get colder? And everybody's like, "Yeah, I think it's going to get colder." We're in a polar vortex right now. I'm not sure if anybody knows
Yeah.
that, but we're in a polar
Um,
vortex. So,
well,
it,
I was kind of the opinion that Canada is almost always in a polar vortex because if you'll remember, I'm from a tropical island.
yes.
So
Yes.
I don't think I've ever told you this. My island, Saipan, uh,
Yeah.
one of our claims is that we are in the Guinness Book of World Records as the most consistent temperature of anywhere on the planet. We're
Really?
just like right. Is it the CCZ? Like because like there's like the equator, but then
Right.
there's like I think it's this. I don't know. I took this. I remember reading
Oh,
about
it's
this in
been a
college.
while.
It's been a few
Yeah.
years. But we our difference between night and day is greater than the difference between summer and winter. And like the main
Really?
difference is it's rainy or windy at different parts of the year. But it's almost always
Same
about 80
temperature.
degrees, which is like 28,
Yeah.
27, 28, 29.
Yeah,
Because
that's phenomenal.
86 is 30
Yeah.
year round. And then,
Yeah.
never gets below 70.
That's kind of boring though, no?
It's a beautiful tropical island with the best sunsets,
I can
and
imagine. Yeah.
fruit grows on trees, and fresh fish swim in the ocean, just waiting for you to catch them and eat them. So, maybe there's some shortcomings, but it's got a lot of benefits to it.
Absolutely. As yeah, I mean, I would, I would love to visit the island. I think it would be a lot of fun to be able to endure those beautiful temperatures. We have
Yeah,
variety. Even in winter, we can fluctuate
four
like
seasons.
yes, yeah, well, even yesterday, I think it started at -15 and by the afternoon it was -1 and snowing. So, and then the day before it was windy, so it was -15 plus the wind chill, which has brought it to
Yeah,
like below -20. So
yeah,
it gets pretty chilly here, but that's fine. That's okay.
yeah.
We're
So
dressed for it.
this is our fourth episode, I think, and I think
Our
in
fourth
every
episode.
episode I've struggled with the conversions from the metric system to whatever it is that we
Oh,
use down here in the United States. It's just
yes.
funny, like we keep using like these numbers, and we talk kilometers and miles and pounds and
Right.
kilos, and it's
It's a
it's just a
big
great
divide,
example of
different
why
language.
yeah, the Americans really need to get on the metric system because
Absolutely.
the rest of the world is using it,
Well, let's just say this: -20 is minus 20 degrees centigrade is -4 degrees Fahrenheit.
so it's cold. Yeah, no, so like
You're dressing
my
up for it.
understanding of temperatures, anytime it's minus something, it means
Yeah.
just don't go outside. I mean, if it's minus, it means you don't want to experience it. Or if there's like a city that you have to go to and it's
And it's
minus, it means
minus.
don't go
Don't go.
there.
Don't go there at that
I'm
time.
I'm going to I'm going to Glasgow, Scotland next month. I'm
Are
going
you going for Ocean Science meeting?
I'm going to be on the outside of the conference. I was invited. I'm doing a training there with Compass, and Compass does incredible work
Yes.
with training scientists on how to communicate. And as an older wizened scientist. They've invited me to their workshop, and then there's also going to be they're having like a town hall meeting about communicating a certain type of way, and I'm going to
Yeah.
participate on a panel and a discussion. But it's yeah, I've never been to Scotland,
Yeah.
but it's going to be in February, and I
You
suspect
know
it's
what? Glasgow
going
in
to be
February. I
cold.
checked. I checked. It's not going to be that bad. It's not going
Oh,
to be
okay.
that bad.
All right, great.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll
It's
take
going to
your
be
word for it.
like
And if
around 0 degrees centigrade, which what that's near 32, I think. So
oh,
it's
okay.
not like
Oh, that's
considering
yeah.
February because it's always the same way. It's always damp and miserable. This is what I've been described to like by a Scottish person. It's always damp and miserable, but it's never like freezing cold.
Oh, okay.
So,
Well, great.
mind you, it depends on what you consider freezing cold. So, like for Canadian
Yeah.
winter, it'll be a bit of a break. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
and I am
awesome.
joking a little bit. Like I've lived in DC for 6 years, and I lived in Massachusetts for a number. So like
Yeah,
I've seen
Massachusetts, you'll
cold,
get
but
the weather.
I I don't like cold. I like
No, yeah.
hot, sweaty weather with high humidity.
The
My
humidity kills me. The humidity kills me. We get humidity here in Ontario in the summer,
I
and it
love
gets
it.
to like 45 degrees with the humidity, and it's like I can't breathe, man.
But your
It's
skin
like
feels good. Your skin
yeah,
glows.
you
You get
never have
you
to.
know
You never
and
dry. Your skin's never dry.
yeah.
That's for sure.
You don't you
That's
don't
for sure.
you're not scratchy like
Nope.
during the winter.
It's always
So
fun, but
let's we should touch base on New Year's resolutions. How's that fitness going?
you know what? I went to the gym again this week. I'm back at it. That's one a
Good.
week. I've been going. I haven't
Yeah.
been as busy,
Excellent.
although I was busy
Excellent.
before. I was putting out a narrative episode on oil and gas, which is live now. If you go on my channel, if you're watching this, after this live, you can go over on the Speak Up for Blue TV channel and you can check out the live narrative episode I put out on people making decisions that don't live by the coast and don't live for the consequences, and so i
Mm.
did i did a bunch of interviews with Oceana, with surf rider, with Healthy Golf, and with Cook Inlet keeper, and they were talking about sort of how the decisions are affecting uh, people along the coastline, and how decisions of the past in the oil and gas industry have affected them in the
Oh,
in
wow.
the in the past, and what it's going to do in the future. So I put a bunch of those together, put a narrative together. It's my first narrative episode. So I'd love to hear what you
Cool.
think, Angelo, and I'd love to hear what everybody else
Yeah,
thinks who's watching this.
I need to I listen to I'm just super impressed by the just like the volume of stories that you crank out. And I love I come on your show and I only talk to you.
Right.
And but like I like the cool thing about all these other episodes is that you talk to so many people working
I
on so many
do,
things
man.
and things that I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
talked to somebody about kelp yesterday, or not yesterday,
Yep.
but like a couple weeks ago.
Yep.
And I was just in the Eastern Pacific Kelp Congress was this week.
That's
And
awesome.
I spent 2 days online talking to kelp scientists. And I gave a 20-minute presentation yesterday. It was kind of funny. So like I'm not a kelp scientist,
Right.
but I've dabbled in the kelp world because I have this friend Aaron who runs the Kelp Forest Alliance, and like I may not be a kelp scientist, but like the one thing I am good at is articulating and communicating like work with indigenous peoples. So
Yes.
that's kind of the work
Very good at that.
that I've done with
Hmm.
him. And so he invited me to talk, and he didn't give me like he didn't tell me what to say. He was just like, just talk about some of the stuff that you've been talking about, some of the
Hmm.
stuff that you've written about. And like I spent a lot of time and I wrote this presentation about how to work with indigenous peoples, and then how to do
Hmm.
kelp conservation, or like how to
Hmm.
like kelp science, and like how to measure kelp
Yeah.
studies and success and yada yada. And during the first day of the conference, I was watching it, and I sort of had this epiphany about halfway through where I was like, oh, the stuff I'm going to tell them they already know. Like the presentation that I put together is just
Yeah.
going to be it's going to land totally flat. It's going to be absolute
Yeah.
garbage.
It's more for my
And but it was
audience,
also
not
like
for that audience.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're kelp scientists, and it was really interesting. It was kelp scientists working from Baja all the way up to Alaska. So there were people from British Columbia, Salish Sea, California, Oregon, Washington, and sort of like the further north you go, the more tribal and First Nations engagement you get. Until like you
Interesting.
get to like BC and Alaska, and it's all
Yeah.
indigenous, native, and
Yeah.
tribal and First Nations
Yeah.
engagement. So like the stuff I was going to write about, just like they were already the experts, and like I just so I went home, I erased like all of the stuff on kelp, all of the stuff on indigenous, like working with indigenous peoples, and rewrote the entire presentation. And it turned out pretty good. I think so. I
So what
focused
was
more
your
on.
focus then after
Uh,
you rewrote it?
I turned the focus onto special ocean places. And I talked
Mm,
about like there's this connection that we have with special ocean places. I talked about my special ocean place is a beach on Saipan, and this is a beach where my family would go barbecue on the weekends. And
right.
the story I told them, because sea urchins are a big part of kelp conservation, I told them the story about how my dad um, kind of tricked me, like Tom Sawyer painting the fence. When I was about 8 years old, he took me out in the reef flat and he taught me how to catch. They don't move. How to gather these urchins, and he made me think that I was the greatest sea urchin hunter that had ever lived. And so as a result, for like many years after that, I'd be like, well, I'm gonna go catch some sea urchins because I'm the best sea urchin hunter in the entire planet, and I would bring
Yeah.
those back and then share them with like my aunts and uncles, and they're like, "Oh, this Ramon, my dad, like, good job tricking this dumb kid to go get us snacks at the beach." Just it's this idea that you have a similar story, I imagine, and I'm going to ask you that in a minute. Like, what is your special ocean place? But like we all have this place, and it often evokes memories of like childhood or family or like
Hmm.
identity, or a place. And then I compared it with, there's this. I did then talk about some of the specific work that I did with the Kelp Forest Alliance because we've had a bunch of meetings. Been talking about values, and one of those values is reciprocity, and how there's a reciprocity between special ocean places and special ocean people. And it's
Mm,
not just like we are special ocean people because we care about and work in these places, but these places also need us to do that. And so
yeah.
my presentation was just like a little bit about like the interplay of reciprocity, and it went pretty good. Like it was fun. It was
Nice.
online, and like I would tell like a part of the story, and like I would see the hearts erupting as
Oh,
people feel. It's like,
okay.
oh,
So it was
and I was like,
interactive.
oh,
Nice.
I feel good. Yeah, because like when you're like doing that live, sometimes you don't get that
Oh, yeah.
response. But
Absolutely.
you must have a special ocean place though. Like
You know
where's
what?
where's that
Yeah,
for you?
I do. It's kind of weird because I grew up, around the Great Lakes, and in Toronto, there's not a focus on going to Lake Ontario a lot, and so obviously, like, there's no oceans in
Mhm.
Ontario. There's the Great Lakes, but I do have a special ocean place. It didn't get to me until later on when I was a dad. We went to Grand Cayman and we stayed on this nice
Mhm.
house on the beach. This nice house on the beach. Went with my family. My kids were probably like 8 and 10 years old, maybe a little older, maybe 10 and 12. Maybe, well, probably like somewhere in between that. I don't remember exactly. They were little, and so what we would do, the way it worked was you were right on the beach, and then there's like a really shallow area for probably about like 100 feet, and so it went seagrasses. So it went beach,
Mhm.
seagrass, and then reef. But it was maybe 4 foot deep at its deepest, right? So it's really,
Okay.
really
And
shallow
sharks.
areas. Like,
Oh, Cayman has don't they have like a stingray
yeah,
snorkel?
they have Stingray Alley, I think they call it. It's like a sand
Yeah.
area in the bay. Yeah, yeah, which was kind of cool as well. But anyway, so I had a lot of these kind of moments on Grand Cayman. I would love to go again. But so essentially, like what it was all just reef. And what was nice is the kids. I always worried about like snorkeling in like a bigger part of the ocean because the kids get
Mhm.
tired and stuff like that. Well, here they could get if they get tired, there were spots where they could just stand, like where there weren't any reefs or it
Stand
was
up.
just sand. And so we would go out and like they would get up early. We'd go up at 8 o'clock. I'd grab, I'm like, grab your snorkels, we didn't even need fins. I go grab your snorkels and your mask and let's just go out. And we would go out for hours, like 2 to 3 hours
Yeah.
until my wife would call us back and be like, hey, like, Andrew, you need to sunscreen up because you're gonna burn. And the kids would sunscreen
Yeah.
up again. And so we went out, but it
Because
was
you're a polar
like
bear.
because I'm a polar bear. Yeah, and I don't do well in the sun. And so yeah, so we would go out and I would show her like they always wanted the reefs. I'm like, let's go in the seagrass. Let's look what out. We saw some cleaning stations
Yeah.
set up where these
Cool.
pipefish were kind of lining up and all these other little
Mhm.
fish and invertebrates were like
And they kind of
cleaning
go
them
like this,
all.
right?
Yeah, it was just all in a row. They're just lining up. but it was really fun to see, and we did it for like we were there for about 10 days. I think we did it 8 out of the 10 days. We went to that Stingray Alley, which is like an old fish spot where like an old fishing spot where they used to clean the fish, and the stingrays would hang out, and the stingrays just stayed there. And a lot of boats come around, and these stingrays are big. I think it scared the heck out of my daughter because they were so big, and they would come right up to you. And I was like, you know what? To be honest, I was impressed by the area, but I wasn't impressed by everybody touching the stingrays. I'm not a big fan of that. But
Yeah.
went diving there as
Well,
well. Went snorkeling there. Went snorkeling with my brother. This guy like drove us. He goes, yeah, you got to go around the corner, and it goes into a bay, and there's like a nice little current that takes you, and you just kind of ride the current. And my brother and I were riding the current. Of course, we had like our diver flags going because we're snorkeling, and we're in like, oh, there's no coastal ocean, but boats can come by. We're probably in about 20 feet of water. My brother, who's not used to being in the water at all, and he looks down, and he's like, what the hell is that down there? Andrew, there's a shark. Like I'm about 10 feet ahead of him. He's like, Andrew, there's a shark. And I'm like, I look down, I'm like, yeah, no, I saw it. I go, it's a nurse shark, nothing to worry about. He goes, he kept coming up with like like, I think it's a bull shark. I think it's a bull shark. I'm like, nope, not a bull shark. It's a nurse shark. And it's just chilling. You don't have to worry about it. It's like 4 feet. He goes, Andrew, I think it's 8 feet. I think it's 8 feet. And to this day, he tells this story, and the shark changes name, and it gets bigger and bigger every single time he tells the story. And so, yeah, so it was pretty cool to be able to do that. So that would be my special play. Anywhere along Grand Cayman was just absolutely wonderful. Cool. And it was fun because I got to share it with family. So yeah, it was pretty cool. But speaking of growing up in your special place, deep sea mining is threatening your special place in a way.
Yeah,
and there was a committee meeting for deep sea mining today that you attended. Tell me, like, let's talk about it, because I feel like there was some really surprising things that came out of that.
It was at the United States Congress, and I'm gonna while we're talking, I'm gonna text you a photo and see if you can pull it up onto the screen, just because you might get a good laugh out of it.
Yeah.
But so hold on, what's in this photo? Where is it? I can't see because I don't have my glasses on. Hold on.
You're getting old.
There. So now I'll send that. Yeah, I am getting old. There. I sent them to you.
I say getting old, and you're the same.
I think I'm a couple days older.
No, I'm older than you.
Oh, really? I'm the 5th.
Yeah, of October. I'm the 5th of September. Remember?
Oh, okay, that's right. Exactly. 30 days. That's right. You are older. So yeah, so the United States Congress called a hearing on deep sea mining, and they invited 2 mining CEOs, one from the metals company, the other one from Impossible Metals. You should invite them on one of your shows and see what they have to say.
I thought about it because I've been told that a couple of times, but I'm not sure if I want to do that.
Yeah, and then the third guy was sort of like a representative of industry, like across mining and oil and drilling, and then the fourth witness is a good friend of your show, Dr. Andrew Thaler, a good friend of mine. And if you ever watch these things on TV, right? The chairman gives a statement. Oh, there. So do you see that guy?
Yeah.
So there's Oliver.
You're in the background right here.
And then I'm right behind him, peeking around, keeping my eye on him. Pretty funny. But yeah, like this was on C-SPAN, and I had like people were texting me photos, being like, "Hey, you're on TV."
So I was like, "Are you there?" And you send me this, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, he's there."
Yeah.
Like,
he's there.
That's awesome.
That was so cool. There's bipartisan support on this. There's the delegates, because the territories don't have representatives.
There you are.
There's Andrew.
There's Andrew right there.
Yeah, I'm right behind him. The other guy looks pretty happy to be there too.
Yeah, he's like, I'm all these Angelo photos.
Yeah, hilarious. But yeah, it was a 2-hour hearing, and the Democrats and the Republicans go back and forth, and they take turns. And all the Democrats thought it was just the worst thing in the world, and gave all the reasons for why they thought it was a bad idea. A bunch of the Republicans thought it was a good idea, talking about we need these minerals for the war machine, we need it for our cell phones and for AI centers and all that stuff. But the delegates from the territories spoke last, and they just had some amazing quotes. So the woman from American Samoa, they call her Delegate Amata. She was just very polite but firm.
Hmm.
And she said, to the indigenous people of American Samoa, the ocean is not just the backbone of our local economy; it is sacred. So really good stuff. And then Congressman King Hines, who represents me on Saipan, she had like a little bit of fire in her. She was like, the people back home are like, nah, hell no. Like everybody just kind of chuckled because she was just kind of like letting her guard down. Um, but she said, yeah, this is what she said: people in American Samoa, the people in Guam, and the people in the Marianas come out and said, hell nah to deep sea mining. It's just very funny. Um, and then the delegate from Guam came on. His name is James Moylan, and like if Kim was fire, Moylan was nuclear. Like
Oh,
there was like a
100%.
waver in his voice. Like he was like there was emotion behind him, and he said, "We, the CNMI, Guam, American Samoa, are united here today to protect our homeland. The ocean is not something we talk about in theory. It is how we live. It feeds our family. It holds our history and connects our people to generations before us." You know, when's the last time you heard a Republican saying stuff like that? Like this is like
Oh,
some really great stuff. And to have Democrats and Republicans working together um, is just really great. And I think the main issue that the people back at home have is not necessarily the deep sea mining itself. It's the justice of the process and how they were
yeah.
just kind of left out. It was forced upon them. There's a
Hmm.
limited timeline, and it just feels unfair and unjust. And so when you're sort of forced into a decision of, do you want to do this now? They hold your hands up and they're like, no, we don't.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and
And
that was
what
it.
was the
So
reaction for the panelists on that? Because like they had their I saw the end of it. I caught the end of it, and I saw when the territory representatives were speaking, and it was pretty strong
yeah,
language to say, "Hey, look, like we
yeah.
were left
Well,
out
like
of
sort
this
of,
process."
yeah. The acts the so there was that, and the man, the guy from Impossible Metals, Oliver, just he said, deep sea mining is inevitable. Like
Like a Thanos thing.
like Thanos. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I am inevitable. And
Yeah.
and I immediately created a graphic and put it on my Instagram.
I saw
Well,
that.
maybe I'll send that to you. Oh, you saw that? Okay.
Oh, I
I'm gonna
can
send it to
probably
you.
show it here.
Can you find it? All right, pull it
Yeah,
up. And
I'll be able
then
to find
the
it.
other thing that Oliver said is he said that he's much more concerned about quality over quantity. And the reason he's saying that is because 99.9% of the people are opposed to it, and he's hoping that his comment is the one that's quality, and his comment is the one that's scientifically based. And he's trying to dismiss the people there.
Yeah.
Uh, Separate from sort of like the process, another interesting thing that was brought up, and I kind of felt that the CEO of the metals company was being untruthful in the way he answered, was this accusation that the mining, they're trying mining in the United States because they see a loophole, because
Mm.
the United States has not joined UN Convention on the Law of the Sea, and that they don't go to the International Seabed Authority, that they feel that they can kind of like swoop in and get a permit for mining on the high seas and not have to. Yeah, there it is. Deep sea mining is inevitable. Like, who says that, man? Like, does he know that Thanos said that? Oh, I can't hear you. I thought you were at a loss for words. But you're actually muted.
Sorry, am I muted? Am I
And
better?
you're back.
And I'm
Yeah, you're
back. That
back.
was weird. I'm still trying to figure out this software. We're running
Oh,
new
good.
software, live software, so I'm still trying to figure it
Yeah,
out.
it's
I
good.
don't
I
know
see
why
this.
I was
We have
muted.
a viewer count in the top. We have a viewer count in the top corner. We had as many as three
Yeah.
viewers.
I know. We're getting better. We're getting better.
Pretty
We're getting
popular.
better in the
Yeah. So
views.
so it's like,
Yeah.
so it's my mom,
Yeah.
your wife.
Yeah. And us.
That's
I
it.
monitor it here too. So we're
Uh,
one.
okay. So
But yeah, it's crazy to think that, just to be like, look, it doesn't matter what you think. It's inevitable that we're gonna just mine.
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah,
like that's
it's
just a little out
outrageous.
of pocket. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
especially after when you hear a representative from who was that representative who said like everybody, the whole Eastern or the whole Pacific is
Guam.
Guam, and they
There's
were
no
they
islands
were
in
like,
Guam.
yeah, he was adamant, and he was just like, like you hear that, and then of course before you hear that deep sea mining is inevitable, when he's just like, don't leave us out of the
Yeah.
process. Like, we want to be a part of this process. It's going to affect the people where the mining is around, so why not put it in
Yeah.
the process?
The other thing is
I thought
that,
it was interesting.
the, people are saying, why should I care about digging up these rocks that are 100 miles from shore?
Right.
And if you've ever been to the beach, like you've seen stuff washed up. And
Yeah.
like I've been to Easter Island, and this is documented uh in videos and like maybe even the science literature, but fishing gear from New Zealand is always washing up in Easter Island on the other side of the Pacific because of like the way the gyre spins. And so,
Mm-hmm.
that's thousands of miles away that the stuff is washing up. And, on my islands, we get a ton of trash from China and from Japan. And so,
Yeah.
this idea that something happening 100 miles away would not impact your resources is just ridiculous, because, you go to any beach and you can see that like right there on the beach there are things from thousands of miles away. Like the ocean is connected. There's currents. The stuff floats for thousands and thousands of miles, and who knows where it ends up. And you've seen, like, was there like a ship that had a bunch of rubber duckies,
Yes.
and like the rubber duckies like all fell overboard,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
some very smart scientists have tracked those rubber duckies all over the world, and
Yeah.
and they're like they went
They're
everywhere.
everywhere. Yeah. Well, and I think
And
there
that's
at one point during the committee meeting, I thought it was interesting because one of the people were asking questions. They asked Andrew Taylor, who was one of the witnesses that was testifying, and they asked him. They said, "Hey, like, citizen science has become very important in monitoring the effects of different things. Is there a way for citizen scientists or someone to monitor, other than the mining companies,
yeah.
the effects of
And
what
he said
happens
no.
during deep sea mining?" And he was like, no, because the mining happens way offshore
Yeah.
of any of the islands. And so there's no
And it's deep.
way, unless they have an observer, there's no way. And it's deep. Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
what, 3,000
Eh,
meters deep,
Fish, fishing boats have observers.
Yeah, fishing boats have, so they would have to have it, but even then with observers, we know the controversies with observers is that they've been threatened, they've been killed. Like, we don't
Killed,
know how
murdered.
far the mining companies are going to go in terms of
Yeah.
making sure that people know or don't know about the effects. So if you don't have anybody monitoring, you just have the mining companies monitoring. Nobody's going to trust the mining companies, nor should they. Not to say that they're going to be evil and they're not going to report anything, but they have it in their best interest not for people not to know what's happening. There's no way to survey it unless there are planes flying over just to see what's on the surface, but you won't see what's
Yeah.
deep down and what the effects are happening
Yeah.
there. They could have a complete like blowout or collapse of the pipe that's coming through, and that falls all
Yeah.
down like on the floor. You never know, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you don't. And so the hope is that there's bipartisan concern. This is subcommittee, the way the Congress works is it was up to the committee. And the hope is that the Congress would try to force some oversight on some of these issues, because NOAA has decided to well, they haven't decided to issue, but they're accepting permits
Right.
for the high seas. And they just passed a rule that allowed, like, you used to have to sort of apply for two separate permits, one for exploratory
Mm-hmm.
and then one for like the commercial extraction. And they've changed the rule
They've
so you
combined it.
combine it, and
Oh.
you only have to submit one proposal. And like it was approved last week, and
Mm-hmm.
then today or yesterday, I don't remember what day it is today. um,
Today's Thursday.
uh,
Yeah.
the metals, I don't know what the date is. The metals company submitted a proposal
Yeah.
to mine on the high seas, and that's now going to go through a process. And there's the mining on the high seas is interesting because it's not just about mining. It's not just about the community. It's these larger issues of international diplomacy, right? So like
Mm-hmm.
the what NOAA has just done could blow up the International Seabed Authority. What
Yeah.
NOAA has just done could blow up the High Seas Treaty that everybody is celebrating, right? Because if the United States just starts handing out permits willy-nilly to all of these companies, because and they say, well, we never signed the treaty, you can't tell us what to do, we're America, go F yourself. Um, what is China going to do? What is Russia going to do? What is
Yeah.
the EU going to do? This, I'm actually reminded of like an amazing speech that your prime minister gave this week, where like I'm not a Canadian, but I can imagine a Canadian would be very proud.
Very
But
proud.
he articulated like what I've been thinking as an American of like just the end of the world order, like the
Hmm.
agreed upon rules of how we govern ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's it started small, right? Like with all of these just norms in this
Hmm.
country, like this the United States, like we've for the last 10 years, our society has been violating these norms. And now it's like making its way to like the really big issues. And yeah, I props to your prime minister, man. Like that was
Yeah.
an amazing speech.
It was pretty cool. For those who haven't watched, I highly recommend. I think it's like a 30-minute speech. I highly recommend that you watch it. Just to kind of build on what you said, Angelo, is basically saying like how we allowed certain superpowers to uh, not control, or dictate, but allow certain things to happen because of one, sort of superpower, say like the U.S. He didn't say the U.S. or never said Trump's name, but that is
But he
changing
meant the
now.
US.
He meant the
Yeah.
U.S. That is changing now, and applying tariffs to blackmail or force people to make a decision on whether a territory should be taken that doesn't even want to be taken, nor do people want to give it up. Especially to another NATO country, it's changing the game. It's changing it from like dominating by superpowers to these sort of middle powers, like a lot of the
Mhm.
European countries as well as
EU.
Canada, to say, yeah, to say, hey, you know what? Like we need to step up, not only and not just rely on like say someone like the U.S. to help our security, but also look after rare minerals and deep sea mining and oil and gas exploration and things like that. We need to kind of do it ourselves and also control our own defense. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. There's a lot that was said there. We'll see if that will take hold. But it seems like everybody in Davos at the meeting was like, "Hey, you know what? You're right. We need to do this thing." Trump didn't like it. Obviously, he kind of had some choice words for Mark Carney, our prime minister here in Canada. But
Yep.
it is what the world thinks, and
He's a big
so
boy.
well, is he? We'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
No,
Um,
Carney's a big boy. Carney's a
Oh,
big boy. I'm
Carney's a
saying.
big boy. He knows how to handle. Well, that's the thing with
Yeah.
Carney. He knows that internationally, he's got a lot of connections. He knows how to handle himself, and he knows diplomacy. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, it's an interesting. Like this whole committee meeting was really interesting to watch. You summed it up perfectly in terms of what happens. You see bipartisan agreement that this is like more information needs to be known. I thought it was interesting in terms of not signing to UNCLOS, the UN Law of the Sea,
Mhm.
that was limiting other countries from going out and doing this stuff because they signed on. The U.S. kind of has that freedom
Mhm.
to do whatever they want. I thought that was an interesting take. Like that's what it seemed
Yeah.
to me. I don't know if I did I interpret that properly
Yeah,
or.
it's again, this goes back to these norms that we were just talking about. So the UNCLOS was negotiated all through like the 50s, 60s, and 70s.
Mm,
Was agreed to like in the 84, I think, and then
yeah,
ratified in 94. So like
right.
when we were in
Took
high
a while.
school. So
Yeah,
it's relatively recent. Um, but the United States claimed an exclusive economic zone in 1983, and for the most part the United States has followed UNCLOS, right?
yeah,
Freedom of navigation. Chinese vessels come into the US EEZ and conduct science,
yeah,
as long as you're not fishing, but you can, your cargo ship can go through. And we need that for trade because places like the Persian Gulf, you got to
yeah,
be able to get from the Mediterranean to India and whatnot, or like near Indonesia, the Panama Canal, right? We need to have these open sea lanes, and that benefited the United States for decades because we ended up with the world's strongest economy, and then like really for like seems like no apparent reason whatsoever. They're just not, we did it because it was right and normal.
Right. Yeah.
And now we have a leader who is just not following that norm.
No.
And he's like, well, we did it, but we never agreed to do it, and so we don't have to continue to do it. And so we're going to
Yeah.
stop doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so were the other countries only doing it because the United States kind of agreed? Like we did it without agreeing to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just the high seas; it's also NATO. It's national
Yeah.
defense.
Yeah.
It's trade. It's like, who thought that we'd have a trade war with Canada?
Yeah. Seriously.
It's
I
stupid.
didn't think that was going to happen. Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it's easy to fall down into the I hate Trump rat hole. But it's just the order is just falling
Yeah.
apart because all of these things that we thought held our society together were just done so with trust.
Yeah. And I think what's interesting is, he can pretty much do what he would like in the US, it seems, or he seems to do whatever he likes, although a lot of things have been upheld in the
Yeah, that's a
courts
new
to
theory
not do
of
that.
governance too.
Yeah, but like
Yeah,
internationally, there are other countries who are like, no, no, we don't want this. Like, you can't get away with this. So I think it's his
yeah,
first real resistance against what he's doing, and it's like, again, we shouldn't, like, this is not the episode of the show to get into the sort of Trump politics.
yeah,
However, the administration is fast tracking a lot of these permits for deep sea mining and trying to get
yeah.
through.
Oil drilling.
There's oil drilling, which the public comment, by the way, finishes closes tomorrow, January 23rd. So get your comments in closely. By the way, if you want that to get through, go to www.speakupforblue.com/stop drilling, and it'll take you to the it'll get you take you to the inlet keeper, and there's a link there that'll links right to the public comment period, so you can do that. Watch the video that I have for what kind of decisions are being made for the coast and the consequences that they faced in the past and what they don't want to see. And this is like a binding, like 20-year thing. So we don't, and lifetime thing that they'll be feeling if this goes through. So something to speak up about, whether you're from the U.S. or from outside. So definitely put in your comment there. But let's get into something a little different. We've been following football for a little bit, playoff football.
Yeah,
Your favorite followed sport these days. And
let's do
we
football.
made bets, or not bets. Yeah, we made bets, but not really. We made predictions.
Predictions,
And I think we were both 2-2 on our predictions, right? Because
yeah.
you had very different. Oh no, maybe you're 3-1. What were your predictions? You predicted New England.
I New England, Bills.
Oh, right.
Seahawks,
And Chicago.
and then the Bears. Yeah, so I was 2-2. I feel like,
No,
though,
you lost. So you lost the Bills. Oh, you got you're 2-2. I'm 2-2 because I went for the Niners, and I went for Houston against the Patriots.
But
So,
I was going to give you a bullshit argument, because
oh yeah,
even though the Bears lost, I felt
yeah,
like they had the best play.
the best play.
There was a there was a moment.
They had a good moment
At the
They had a
end
good moment
of the
Yeah,
fourth quarter.
yeah,
Quarterback went
yeah.
back. He went to the side and he threw the Hail Mary to the end zone,
And when
and he caught it.
you say he went back like 25 yards.
Yeah,
Like really, because he was going to get tackled if he stayed in the pocket.
yeah.
And
No,
I still
looked like
don't
it was
know.
over.
I don't know what that defender was thinking. The defender was on the receiver, and then all of a sudden he went forward. And I don't think it was a
He got
push
pushed
off.
away.
I don't know if he like necessarily pushed him. I think he
It was
misjudged the ball. It was pretty
a-
windy, so I think he misjudged
Yeah.
the ball as he looked up. And it was a great catch, great throw. It was a bit of a Hail Mary, a little desperation, but it works
Yeah.
when it looks good when it works. Unfortunately, they could not seal the deal. He threw an interception, a costly interception, and the Rams went down and got the field goal. I love the Rams kicker.
Lost by 3.
Did I tell you? Have we talked about the Rams kicker? I love the Rams kicker because the Rams kicker
Okay.
is 5'11".
Hawaiian. Is he
and
Hawaiian?
No, he's not Hawaiian. He's
Okay.
5'11", and he is about 245 pounds, which is odd
Well, that's a
for a
big
kicker.
dude
It's a
for a
big dude,
kicker.
and he's a kicker. But what's funny is exactly what I am. That's my measure, like 5'11",
Oh, okay.
245. I'm like, I could kick.
You could be
I
in the
have a
NFL.
chance.
There's in an alternate universe, you are an elite athlete.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, his last name is what's his last name? Is it Thicker? They call him the Thicker Kicker, is what they call him.
Oh, that's
He's known as
amazing.
the Thicker Kicker because he's bigger than all the rest. Because all the rest are like soccer players, and they're
Yeah.
tiny, and they got like a strong leg, but they're tiny. This guy, he really put it through. So it was great. It was great to see that. My Niners did absolutely horrible, and that happens. But they were terrible. They had nobody left, and that's what it is. Congratulations to Seattle. So it'll be Seattle and the Rams, which will be a great matchup.
Patriots eked it out.
Patriots got lucky.
They were winning the entire game. They were winning the entire game.
They
but
were
not by a lot.
Not by a lot,
and
and by a quarterback against a quarterback who threw 4 interceptions, and the team had 1 fumble. They just didn't have it in them. I feel so bad for Houston. They deserved it so much. But hey, Houston's going through, or New England's going through. Denver won in the last seconds.
I think.
However, Bo Nix, the quarterback, has a broken leg or a broken ankle. So now New England, people are thinking, has a straight up pathway. So it's New England against Denver.
So New England,
Seattle against the Rams. What are your predictions?
New England Seahawks.
New England Seahawks. All right, I'm going to say the same because I do think it's going to be the same thing. I think the Seahawks take it all. I don't think New England can stand going on. New England still hasn't gone against a top tier team.
But
that's my prediction.
You do know I will be wearing my Patriots jersey.
Yes. So
I
do know
they will have that. Like both games.
They will. Both games. Yeah. I don't blame you. You have to. You got to represent. You gotta represent. I think it'll be a good game. I think both games are going to be good. The backup quarterback for again, Denver has a good defense. We'll see if they can keep up. They got to put up the points. We'll see if Stidham, who's the backup, hasn't necessarily been a proven quarterback, but we'll see if he can put it through. And
they make movies about games like this.
They do. It's a big game. And is it Drake May?
Hopefully they don't, and the Patriots just go through.
You never know. That's the prediction. I think the Patriots, and maybe the Patriots maybe they're a little overconfident going into this game. We'll have to see. I have to admit, I am rooting for Denver because they have some former 49ers on defense. So I am rooting for Denver, but good luck, and we'll see how it goes. On the other side, I'm kind of conflicted because Seattle and the Rams are both in the 49ers division, so I hate them both. But I think Seattle will take it. I think they're just too strong. I think they're just too strong.
That's funny.
So, but that's it for. Do you have anything else you want to talk about, or we're gonna sign off?
That was a great episode. Thanks for.
That was a great.
We've done 4.
Yeah, we've done 4, and we tried to get. You were on the radio right before this, or during, right before we put it. We tried to get it. We're learning new software.
The technology failed us.
Yeah. So we'll figure it out for next time if it's on these last minute things, and we'll get it through. But Angelo, great to connect with you.
Thanks,
Have
man.
a lot of fun. We will see you guys
next week.
later. Yes.